Any list of the most beautiful places in the world is bound to be controversial. After all, what is beautiful to some may be dull to others. Some people are moved by the sea. Others prefer the silence of the mountains. Some find beauty in chaos. And some only call something beautiful if they can meditate while gazing at the horizon. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, the beauty of a place has much more to do with the experience of those who have been there than with the number of likes on Instagram. Here at Bello Mundo, you already know, we like to go beyond the obvious. In fact, we've already taken you to see the ugliest countries on the planet. Places with no planning, no infrastructure, and questionable charm. If you haven't seen it yet, check out the video, The 10 Ugliest Countries on the Planet. It's a must-see. But today, the vibe is different. Today, we're going to take the opposite approach. We're going to show you some of the most beautiful places on Earth. And we're not talking about the usual postcard destinations. No Paris, New York, or Venice. Today's trip will take you to hidden corners, landscapes that seem unreal, scenes that make you doubt you're still on the same planet. Ready? Number 12. Meru Island, Maldives. To start this trip in style, we're going straight to a classic paradise, the Maldives. We could have chosen any island in the Maldives to open this list because honestly, it's hard to find a place that doesn't look like a postcard. But among so many perfect islands, Meru Island stands out. This place takes your breath away from every angle you look at it. Meru is the definition of paradise, a sea with dozens of shades of blue, sugar-white sand, palm trees swaying in the breeze, and a silence that seems to shut out the world. The island is almost entirely occupied by a resort, which guarantees exclusivity, comfort, and of course, cinematic landscapes in every corner. The sea is so crystal clear that it looks like it's been photoshopped. And just step outside your bungalow and you can dive with colorful fish, swim with turtles, and float over stunning coral reefs. Not to mention the sunsets, which look like they've been hand-painted. Despite being one of the most accessible islands in the archipelago, it loses nothing in terms of beauty. It is romantic, peaceful, and absurdly beautiful. A destination that appeals to both those who want to relax and those who want to be enchanted by nature. There is not much more to say about this place, just the recommendation to go and visit it as soon as possible. Number 11. Marble Cathedral, Chile. As in the Maldives, choosing a single place in Chilean Patagonia is a thankless task. The entire region seems to have been carved by hand. Deep valleys, crystal-clear rivers, colossal glaciers, and mountains that pierce the sky. Torres del Paine National Park alone would make the top 10. But today we're going a little further south, to a place that's even less obvious and even more surprising. It is on Lake General Carrera, in the very south of Chile, that the famous Capillas de Mármol, also called the Marble Cathedral, are located. A unique rock formation shaped by water over thousands of years. There are tunnels, columns, and entire walls of marble polished by the waves, reflecting unbelievable colors as the light hits and the water moves. The marble has shades that vary between white, gray, and blue due to the minerals in the region. And the visual effect is so strong that it looks like someone painted it all by hand. Depending on the time of day, the reflection of the lake transforms everything into an explosion of hypnotic colors. And best of all, you can explore it all by boat or even kayak, navigating inside the galleries as if you were inside a living sculpture. It's one of those places that photos can't explain. Number 10. Whitehaven Beach, Australia. If there is a place where the white sand and blue sea seem to have been calibrated to perfection, that place is Whitehaven Beach in Australia. Located in the Whitsunday Islands, right in the heart of the Great Barrier Reef, this beach has been voted one of the most beautiful in the world several times, and with good reason. What makes Whitehaven so special is that the sand is composed of about 98% pure silica. This gives the beach a dazzling white color and a texture so fine that the grains do not heat up even under the scorching sun. The contrast with the turquoise waters creates a scene that looks edited, but it is real. The most famous cove in the region is Hill Inlet, where the tides create swirls of sand and salt water in patterns that resemble works of art. You can observe this phenomenon from above, by helicopter, or from a viewpoint accessible by trail. Whitehaven is protected by national parks, and access is only by authorized boats, which helps to keep the place almost untouched. Number 9. Ha Long Bay, Vietnam. In northeastern Vietnam, Ha Long Bay is one of those places that impresses with its sheer abundance. There are almost 2,000 limestone islands and islets scattered over more than 580 square miles of sea, many covered with vegetation and full of caves carved by time. This type of formation takes millions of years to shape. The result is gigantic blocks of stone sprouting from the water, creating narrow channels and hidden coves. In some of these coves, there are floating villages where hundreds of residents live off fishing and shellfish farming. The caves are also noteworthy. Some have historical value, such as Hang Jiao Go, where the Vietnamese hid stakes used in battles against the Mongols. Others are open to visitors, with internal walkways and soft lighting revealing stalactites and huge chambers. Those who enjoy panoramic views often climb up to the Tai Top Island viewpoint, which offers a sweeping view of the bay, with the blocks of stone forming a veritable natural labyrinth over the blue-green waters. In addition to its geological beauty, the region is home to unique species of plants and animals, which help secure its UNESCO World Heritage status. Number 8. Iguazu Falls, Brazil, Argentina. Between Brazil and Argentina, the Iguazu Falls form one of the largest sets of waterfalls on the planet. They are almost 3 kilometers long, with more than 200 falls ranging from 60 to 80 meters in height, depending on the time of year. The most impressive of all is the Devil's Throat, a U-shaped crevice almost 90 meters wide, through which half of the river's total volume plunges. In addition to being magnificent, the landscape also carries history. The Tupi and Guarani indigenous peoples called the place Big Water. Today, the falls are a UNESCO World Heritage Site and are home to a rich biodiversity. You can see coatis, toucans, jaguars, and even ocelots roaming the park. And if you're lucky enough to catch a sunny day, get your camera ready. The rainbows that appear in the mist are the kind of beauty you'll never forget. Number 7. Fernando de Noronha, Archipelago, Brazil. Still in Brazil, our next stop is a piece of land that seems to float on turquoise waters. Fernando de Noronha is located about 220 miles off the northeast coast and is one of those places that defies logic because it is so beautiful. The archipelago has 21 islands, but only one of them can be visited freely. The rest is an environmentally protected area, and for good reason. It is home to dolphins, sharks, turtles, tropical birds, and a multitude of colorful fish. Noronha has been considered a Natural World Heritage Site since 2001 and has some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. Sancho Bay, for example, has topped several international rankings, and Porcos Bay, with its postcard view framed by Two Brothers Hill, looks like a painting. It's so perfect. The trails that crisscross the island take you to incredible viewpoints, natural pools, volcanic rock cliffs, and vegetation that is resistant to wind and salt. It feels like being inside a giant aquarium where each dive reveals a new scene. No wonder divers call the place the underwater cathedral. Number 6. Plitvice Lakes National Park, Croatia. Leaving Brazil, we now arrive in Croatia to visit one of the places where nature seems to have taken great care with the smallest details. Plitvice Lakes National Park is a hidden gem in the interior of the country, with almost 115 square miles of forest, crystal-clear water, and wildlife. The main attraction: 16 lakes of varying shades, all interconnected by waterfalls, rapids, and small rivers that form a kind of liquid staircase sculpted over centuries. These lakes were formed thanks to natural limestone deposits that accumulated over time, shaped by algae, moss, and bacteria. The result? A constantly changing water spectacle. The largest waterfall, Veliki Slap, is almost 80 meters high. And if that's impressive, imagine the whole scene: wooden walkways crossing the park, where you literally walk on water. Take your time, just enjoying the sound of the falls, the smell of wet wood, and the surreal surroundings. Each season paints the park in a different way. In autumn, everything takes on golden and red tones. In winter, the waterfalls freeze and turn into ice sculptures. In summer, the water reflects the blue sky like a mirror. And in spring, butterflies and flowers take over the landscape. With bears, lynxes, wolves, and over 1,000 species of plants, Plitvice is one of those places that looks like something out of a fairy tale. Number 5. Geiranger Fjord, Norway. If Norway is already synonymous with magnificent nature, the Geiranger Fjord is practically the icing on the cake. Located in the Møre og Romsdal region, this fjord is an arm of the Sunilvsfjorden and is about 15 kilometers long. It doesn't seem like much until you see the colossal mountains around it, which rise more than 1,000 meters high, straight out of the sea. Sailing through this fjord is like passing through a painting. On one side, 7 waterfalls descend in parallel. These are the Seven Sisters. On the other, the waterfall known as the Bride's Veil seems to float like a scarf in the wind. And between them, a third waterfall called the Suitor, which legend says is courting the sisters. Romantic, isn't it? At the end of the fjord is the village of Geiranger, tiny, charming, and the starting point for trails and viewpoints that show the fjord from above. On cloudy days, fog covers everything and transforms the landscape into an almost mystical setting. No wonder the place has been listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Number 4. Zhangjiajie and Jiuzhaigou, China. Our next stop is China, a country that seems to have been created by a fantasy screenwriter. If there is one place in the world where nature has been particularly generous, it is here. And look, we would need hours to list everything. In fact, if you want to delve deeper, there's a video here on the channel just about the wonders of China. Check it out later. But today we highlight 2 absurdly unique places: Zhangjiajie National Park and Jiuzhaigou Valley. Starting with Zhangjiajie in Hunan Province. Here, the mountains are not ordinary mountains. They are vertical stone towers, some over 200 meters high, sprouting from the ground as if they were floating pillars. And seriously, it was this view that inspired the flying mountains in the movie Avatar. The walkways that cut through the cliffs give you the feeling of walking in the clouds, especially when the fog takes over the landscape. And then there's the Baylong Elevator, the world's tallest outdoor elevator, which takes you to the viewpoints as if it were an elevator to another planet. But if you thought all that was amazing, wait until you see Jiuzhaigou in Sichuan province. A valley surrounded by snow-capped mountains with crystal-clear lakes of various colors, cascading waterfalls, and a forest that looks like a scene from a Tibetan fairy tale. The lakes are not just one color. They change color as the sun hits the water, ranging from turquoise to olive green, dark blue, and even golden tones. And the most beautiful of all is the five colors pond, which looks like it has been hand-painted. And as if its beauty were not enough, the place is sacred to Tibetans, who believe that the lakes were born from pieces of mirrors broken by a goddess. Zhangjiajie seems to float. Jiuzhaigou seems to shine. And both make China look like another planet. Number 3. Lake Baikal, Russia. When it comes to grandeur, Russia never disappoints. It is the largest country in the world, with a territory stretching from Europe to the Pacific, with plenty of space for everything, including some of the most incredible places on the planet. Among iconic cathedrals, historic cities, and regions that glow with the northern lights, the country's natural star is undoubtedly Lake Baikal. And it's no exaggeration to say that it is unique in almost every way. Baikal is not just a beautiful lake, it is the deepest, largest, and oldest freshwater lake on the planet. It is over 2,000 miles long, 250 miles wide at its widest point, and reaches a depth of 5,000 feet. A true blue colossus nestled in southern Siberia. The place is so special that it has been recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site and is home to a surreal biodiversity. About 60% of the species that live there exist nowhere else in the world. A closed ecosystem, almost like a planet within a planet. The lake is surrounded by mountains and taiga, that boreal forest that resists extreme cold and covers much of the northern hemisphere. And in the middle of all this are the 27 islands that dot Lake Baikal. The largest of these, called Olkhon, is over 700 square kilometers and is home to a small community of Buryats, a Siberian indigenous group. But the biggest spectacle happens in winter. When Baikal freezes, the ice layer can reach almost 2 meters thick, and it is so transparent that you can see up to 40 meters deep. Cracks and air bubbles form natural designs that look like they came out of an abstract art gallery. Number 2. Lake Retba, Senegal. A few miles from Dakar, Senegal, there is a lake that seems surreal. We are talking about Lake Retba, better known as Lake Rose. Yes, pink indeed. The vibrant hue comes from an algae called Dunaliella salina, which produces a reddish pigment in response to the high salinity of the water, and we are talking about a salt level that rivals the Dead Sea. During the dry season between November and June, the pink color of the lake becomes even more intense, creating a hypnotic contrast with the blue African sky and the white piles of salt that workers extract from the bottom. And speaking of which, the work there is rough. Locals enter the water covered in shea butter to protect their skin and spend hours scraping the salt with shovels and buckets. Despite its unusual appearance, Lake Retba is absolutely safe for swimming, and floating there is as easy as in the Dead Sea due to the density of the water. Few places in the world manage to be so photogenic and unexpected at the same time. Number 1. Banff National Park, Canada. Ending our trip on a high note, we arrive in Canada to see one of the most spectacular settings on the planet, Banff National Park, in the heart of the Canadian Rockies. Created in 1885, Banff is Canada's oldest national park and one of the first in the world. It covers more than 2,500 square miles of snow-capped mountains, dense forests, imposing glaciers, and glacial lakes with colors that defy any paint palette. Among so many postcard views, Peyto Lake stands out. The turquoise waters, fed by melting snow from the surrounding mountains, create a striking contrast with the dark forest at the base of the snowy slopes. From the top of the lookout, the view looks like a montage, but it's real. It's the kind of place that makes any photo look professional. In addition to Peyto, the park is home to other icons such as Lake Louise and Moraine Lake, with equally surreal colors. For those who enjoy hiking, there are more than 1,000 miles of marked trails. And if you want to see wildlife, get your camera ready. Bears, moose, wolves, and bighorn sheep are residents of the region. If there is a visual definition of heaven on earth, this place is a great candidate. And so, we end this trip through the most beautiful countries in the world. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe here at Bello Mundo, and activate the bell so you don't miss the next content. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.